Welcome to the Inspiring Women Collection here at A Lovely Inspiration. This is a visual memoir series that's dedicated to honoring the voices and the contributions of remarkable women of color. I am your host, Layla. I'm a writer, a memoir consultant, and a real life muse who inspires women through the art of storytelling. And as a memoir consultant, I partner with visionary women to preserve their legacies, both in the spoken and the written word. And so this series brings that memoir work that I do to life visually. And so my intention is to offer wisdom that will guide and inspire women navigating their own seasons of growth and transformation. And so today I have the distinct honor of sitting down with an amazing visionary woman. Joining me today is Kat Harvey, an entrepreneur, a YouTube podcast host, and a change maker with a vision that has no ceiling. Kat is the founder and the host of Success Nothing Less, a show that she started in 2014 and built on one core belief that every person has a story worth sharing, and that story has the power to change someone else's life. And over the past decade, she has sat down with celebrities and influencers from around the world, creating a platform that inspires people to turn their dreams into reality. And her vision for the future is a syndicated radio show and a national television platform. And knowing Kat, that is not a dream, that is a plan. And as if building a global talk show wasn't enough, she is also the founder of Fly Level, a luxury clothing brand created for people who do great things and look extraordinary while doing it. And what makes this conversation especially meaningful to me is that Kat and I share a history. We are fellow alumni who reconnected at our high school reunion in my hometown of Washington, D.C. And what struck me most was not just about what she had built, but it was just how she gives back. Because Kat has returned to our school, she stood in front of our current AP students, she poured out her wisdom, her story. She's always present and supportive of the next generation. And she continues to go back. She continues to give. And I remember her telling me about an event that was recently, about a month or two ago, that she went back to support and inviting others to come. And so that is the mark of a woman who understands that success is not just about what you build, it is about how you pay it forward. We beat the odds by refusing to believe in or succumb to any negative stereotypes that could limit what we were capable of becoming. And so watching Kat just live that truth out loud is just it's something that I'm genuinely proud to witness. So, Kat, welcome. It's so good to have you here today.
Layla, thanks for having me. I feel like I gotta slow down my tone, and you're giving Oprah vibes. I'm like, I gotta slow down my tone and make sure it's nice and precise when I'm here on your show. But thanks for having me.
Oh, you don't have to. Just be yourself. This is just, this is all about you. I do help women with memoirs, and it's about telling their life story. So I'm more going to be in the background, you giving your story to the world. And I always like to kind of start off basically beginning these conversations with anchoring ourselves with where we are right now in the present moment and just kind of being present and recognizing like which chapter of our life or which season of our life that we're currently living in and what is it teaching us. As you know, as women, we navigate through many different seasons, the maiden, the mother, then we transition to the crone or the elder. And each one of these seasons brings its own gifts, brings its own lessons. And so, in this current chapter or season of your life, because we're going to go through different places, so it's good that we start right where you are now so we have a good guiding light. What is inspiring you in this season of your life? It could be a person, place, or thing.
I would say what's inspiring me is just life. I recently had to cancel a major client of mine that was paying really, really well. But it was taking up so much of my time that I was getting away from my show. Like I'm in the process right now I'm producing my first documentary with, like I literally just did an interview with one of the top executives from Jive Records. He's done a lot of things, Run DMC, the whole 9 yards, and literally did a, documentary. He's part of the documentary, but it was taken away from my creativity. So I know one of the things that I said I had to be more realistic about respecting my time, even if it's a lot of money. Like, is it in alignment? I think that's the season word for me, 2026. It's alignment. And if it's not pushing towards my goals, then even if it's a lot of money right now, it's just I just can't waste any time. So I think alignment is a major one of my major things for this season that I'm in right now.
Wonderfully said. I think that is so important, especially where a lot of people won't make that tough decision. You made that decision to be like, okay, I need to do what's right for Kat, not necessarily what's right for what it looks like, what the appearance is, but what's going to help you feel comfortable in what you're doing and elevate to the next level. So I really do love that. A lot of people are afraid to make that tough choice because you said that's a major
It's
client right there.
I'm
I-
like, I'm like, we kept extending it, kept extending it. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, I think I'm sure because it started.
yeah.
You take on people. It start off small, and then when they see you can do more, they give
Mm,
you more, and it's like, all right, this thing is supposed to take me 15 hours a week now. It's turned into 40 hours. I'm married, I
wow.
got a family, I got all these things going on. So it started taking up more of my time, my creativity. And even, I try not to work on holidays, even though I'm a workaholic. But it
Mm,
just got really just time consuming. I'm like, okay, I think it's time to let this thing go. This is pointing me in a different direction than what I need to focus my time on.
understood. So you letting that creativity come back out so you can come out and create even more. I mean, you got a clothing line, pocket, you got so many things happening, but I'm so happy to hear that you are getting in alignment or staying in alignment, really, because it seems like you've always been. You just make sure that you don't slip off the alignment
That's
track.
it. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And so I guess that sets the stage now that we know what chapter you're in right now in the alignment season. Let's get to know you a little bit more and let's get to know who Kat is. Tell us about yourself and how you became to become the successful woman that you are today.
Wow. First of all, I gotta give it back to, I have mentors, my mom, my grandfather, my family members, Dr. Fraser O'Leary, of course, our AP teacher, the GOAT
Of
himself.
course, yes.
Miss McCall, but really I wouldn't be here where I'm at unless I had people in front of me to say, hey, just like go to college. When you go to college, make sure you get all the scholarships because you don't want to come out with debt. So I paid attention to that. I did what they said. I applied to all the scholarships. I got them. Won over $250,000 to go to any college, and I chose to go to Norfolk State because that was the least amount of money and wasn't too far from home. So I went there, did my 4 years, got my bachelor's of accounting, went back during COVID, and got my master's in accounting and forensic accounting from George Mason University. And then from there, just did consulting and different other things. But I would say literally it's been my mentors. Um, and knowing that, like Dr. O'Leary says, a man's reach should exceed his grasp. And I think I went overboard. I tell them that all the time. I said, I think I
Yes,
think I went overboard because sometimes like
exactly.
I literally like I have TVs in my house, I have computers. Like I told this one lady, I have 6 laptops. So I'm a workaholic. Like I really, when I put my mind to something, I do it. But learn like I said, alignment, learning how to step back a little bit, but at the same time, knowing that there's nothing I can't do. It may take me a little bit longer. And two, people look at me, and that's one of the reasons I'm sure we'll get to this, but that's why I started putting out, you know, the behind the scenes because people look at me and they say, "Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that." My first car was a Mercedes Benz ML320. I was driving that when I was 20 years old. So my second car was a 650 at 23. So, fast forward, got other things, done other things, but just to show you, I've always been very goal oriented, getting things done, but at the same time, learning like, okay, now that I then went through my 20s chasing the bag, getting all these things. Now, like you said, now it's about, as my other mentor, Stan Richard said, you learn, you earn, you return. I'm at a return season because people have poured into me. And it's like, these young girls, social media, man, they thinking they got to do all this crazy stuff to get attention from women and from men or from boys, and it's like that's not where it's at, and everybody wants to be a content creator. It's like, okay, well, it's like going to the NBA. Everybody can't be no content creator. Like, you sis, you need some skill sets, whatever field it is. I know people don't like to talk about having a plan B, but you really need these other skill sets. Like, that's why I said accounting. I have the media business, I have my AI business, I got accounting, I got real estate. So I have a multitude of things. It's not just one thing that I have my hands on, and it's built by design. So literally, like you said, you're going back, you're talking to the youth, telling them what's real. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. I remember going through my first court case. Actually, yeah, my first court case that I won against a major company. And then from then, I say to anybody, you're not an entrepreneur or a business person until you get sued. So until that's
Okay.
happened a couple of times,
Ooh,
please don't talk to me about nothing. Don't say nothing to me. Like, and you literally have to carry your life and build your life like that. Like, even your personal life. I tell people all the time, please, 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 please establish a trust. Okay. Don't put your family through stuff or making people fight over stuff. Be nice and clean. If you haven't already, please look into getting a trust. That's another golden nugget. I've already done that. So, um, yeah, like I said, I listen to my mentor, saving my money. I'm a purse girly. So I don't know if you guys know. So I'm very, very tall. I'm about what, 5'10" or whatever. And for the long time, my husband teases me because my feet are big. And like other people have. So I'm a big tomboy. Like, I really don't like to dress up. That's probably why I'm an entrepreneur. I get to wear what I want, unless I got something important to do. But like literally, it was so hard for me to find sneakers all the time. Like, no, I'm sorry, not sneakers, like the cute. I don't know if you remember Bare Feet. Remember Bare Feet used to be out?
absolutely.
The
That
cute
was my favorite story.
sandals,
Yes.
the heels.
All
Girl,
the
they would
shoes.
never, the gladiator sandals, the little jellies, all of that stuff.
Oh, jellies was my thing. Yes.
They never had my damn size.
Oh,
Sorry to cuss, but like I was so like countless times I've been
yeah.
there. DSW, even now, DSW,
Hmm.
now they got Zappo, which is good, but literally for the longest time, I could never find shoes in my size. And that's why I think slowly I became a tomboy because I'm like, okay, I can buy some Nikes, I can buy Asics, whatever, and wear what I want to wear and be comfortable. Um, and be myself. So it just kind of grew from there. But like I said, being comfortable in my skin, I think too the major key for me is being authentic. I know in different parts of rooms that I'm in, sometimes I'm the only female. I'm only the black female. I got some amazing things coming up that I'll be dropping soon at some point. But like learning how to be myself. I know a lot of times, we gotta switch our voice sometimes, which is cool to do. But it's also okay to have some humor. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're
My
conducting
favorite
business,
thing. Yes.
even like we were just being human,
Before we
connecting.
got on. Yeah.
Right, we just
Hmm.
chopping it up, whatever. But I found doing that now in my 30s, and I feel more comfortable with that now versus in my 20s. I probably like, but
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, once you understand, and that's one thing AI is not going to replace is the human connection.
That part.
So that's why I said we gotta focus more. That's why we were talking about this live events, like emerge, like digital experience. Like I'm really
Yeah.
honing in on that piece. But that's one thing, like I said, being yourself. Now that doesn't mean like, be yourself like you with your friends, right? You gotta tone it
Yeah.
down a little bit. But I'm learning, obviously a good sense of humor. I'm learning to use that in my business approach. And even like, I'm notorious as some of the celebrities and people would say, I'm notorious for running people down. Like I will follow up with you, like Jay Bolin that does Kelly Rowland. He just did salt and peppers uh outfits. Everybody's talking about Total from they just Total on the tour they
Oh,
just
the
did with
tour.
Montreal.
Yes.
They had the
Okay.
red little fluffy thing. They were doing the remix to Megan Thee Stallion,
Oh,
the Lover
really?
Girl. Yeah, so he styled all of that stuff. I ran into him actually at Tyson's. I know, but here we go again. Go back to the purses. I forgot where I was going with this,
Oh,
but I
the
spend my
shoes,
money
the
with
purses.
purses.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where my money goes. I've gotten
Okay.
a lot better. But I saw Jay Bowler in there, and literally, I was not dressed. That's why I made it. And I'm running up on him. I was like, you remember? He was looking at me like, I said, I'm just here picking up stuff for my husband, and getting his Valentine's Day gift and getting some pizza out of there. They got some really good pizza. It's called Andy's. Shout out to them. I love Andy's pizza. But no, I literally was in there, and like I said, it was our approach when I first met him. I was like, look, just like Dion Cole, I'm running people down. I'm like, look, I've been trying to get you for the last 10 years. I'm here to you face to face. I'm pulling up email receipts. I got people's names memorized in my head so they know I'm not, BSing. And I'm like, when are we gonna make this happen? And I think too is not being afraid of the follow. I think a lot of times people think that one touch is going to work. As you move up in the ladder, it gets so hard to get in touch with people, let alone if you don't have sponsorship, as we're doing these podcasts and shows. And that's another thing I'm learning. So that's why I'm getting more comfortable with these corporate sponsorships, which I'm getting a lot of right now. And like I said, about releasing some new events. But that's, like I said, being authentic of myself and sharing with people what I have and knowing that I have something to offer in that space, and I don't need to be somebody who I'm not in order to get a deal. And if I do, it's probably not the deal for me. So I'm in that space where it's like, look, take me as I am. I do good business. Even with I had Gina Thompson for my grand opening show, and I we of course we signed a contract, right? But literally I stuck to the T of every single step of the way. And that's so, especially in this business of industry entertainment, as you know, with any business, people don't keep their words. You agree on certain terms, you do certain things. And it's like, I've never wanted that's one thing we have. All I have is my
Yeah,
word,
you're
just
right.
like Mr.
Yeah,
O'Leary. Like I
that's
was
right.
talking, I said, man, he called me every year. You come to the AP
AP
reunion. I'm
reunion,
literally,
yes.
I think two times I missed. I think because I was in LA one time, and I think another time I think I had a client or something wearing late. But like he called me, he's like, "Are you coming?" And that's another thing I've learned. With all of our matriarchs, man, people are leaving out of here, and we don't know. And I'm just
Yes.
that scares me to death. So every time Dr. O'Leary calls, Miss McCall calls, any of
Hmm.
my mentors, I try my best to show up because I'm always afraid that it will be that last time. And that's what I learned
Mm-hmm.
from one of my recent passing of my uncle. And I
Mm-hmm.
just thank God I was there for him every step of the way. Whenever he called, doesn't matter. I picked up the phone, even if I knew he ain't want nothing, and I think
Yeah.
about all, I was trying to tell people, no, if you have your grandparents around, your mom, your dad, I know they get on our nerves. Sometimes your aunties, your uncles, they don't be wanting nothing. I'm telling you, like, pick up the
Yeah.
phone, check on, see how they doing, because it's
Hmm.
going to be that one phone call. You like, dang, I wish I picked up the phone, or I wish I could hear them again. That's another thing to keep playing about. Like I'm just so
Yeah.
glad. So like I said, anytime my mentors need something from me right now, I'm there because I don't want to not pick up the phone and then have regrets later. So spending time with people.
Yeah, that
I know that was
is
a mouthful, but
no, it's a
that
great
just brings
start
so many
because
ideas. Yeah,
it's a
so many
lot of
things in my
things.
head.
It tells me it's a lot of things that got you to where you are. You have a lot of businesses right now. And I want to talk about the foundation because what you mentioned a lot of the things that you have going on right now is directly from the motivation, the inspiration that you got when you were younger. So let's take it a little bit back to see because all the people you mentioned and everything, they were all in your past when you were coming up. And that's what the inspiration and that's really what the drive is, it sounds like, that keeps you inspired. Because it's
Yeah,
one thing to get inspired and get to the position. It's another thing that's going to take you to the next level. And it feels like that's the thing that's keeping you inspired, motivated, pushing, even beyond all of the limits that other people would be like, no, I'm just going to stop here. It's too hard. You're like, no, I got this person helped me out. And so I'm going to continue. And so, moving back to a little bit further, what I really loved about what you mentioned, a lot of the people you mentioned and a lot of the people you have on your show are from DC. So let's talk about your love for DC, for the city, and kind of where that started, because I think that's really, if I'm listening to you correctly, really where everything kind of formed and shaped and allowed you to become authentic. Because we're from DC, we have DC accents, we switch it up or whatever, or it's a different thing. We have a different energy. We got our own music, go go. Everywhere you go, you're a representative of DC. So when you go and meet other cultures, you're like, oh, where are you from? What do you do? What do you eat? Our own food, mumbo sauce, all of these different things. Like, this is us. This is our culture. And this is kind of where we started out from. So tell us a little bit more about You mentioned your grandparents, your mom, and just the community that you had coming up, like how that started. How did you even think to even start getting mentors?
Well, they came to me. I think too, Layla, also you, and in hindsight, you ever heard somebody say, older person say, you got it, whatever it is, they see it in you, right? And something's different about you. And I've always had, I hate to sound cliche or sound, like I have an ego or something, which I have a little bit. I'm a Gemini, just a little bit.
It's okay.
Just a
It's
little bit. I
okay to
have a
be
little,
about
little
self. That
spice
is beautiful.
spice and everything nice when I want to be right. But
Mhm.
but no, I think it just came, like I said, being authentic, and two, learning. It still goes back to switching that switch on and off, right? Because when we first got the condos, I remember it was like I said on the mic, it was like a zoo, right? Came from private school, around a lot of different ethnicities since I was two. People who did not look like me. So I've never had that thing of like there's a white person around me. Some people, they're not used to white people, and they
Yes.
think they gotta like they the ops, or they're
Yeah.
the enemy, or I need to be this. It's like it's like a pushback, and vice versa. It could be like any white person who's
Hmm.
not used a lot around black people. But I've always been able to teeter between the both, right? Had that DC side when people try to start playing with me, my voice changed up real quick. The masters, the business person, all that stuff kind of, because you
Yes,
learn.
you
I think
multi-layered. We have
yeah, you know
layers.
how to different. You got to deal with different type of people out here in the world. Like everybody's not gonna speak slang or speak proper, and it's times and places where you can do it professionally to let people know, hey, like, don't play with me, right? So, I think too that's where it comes from, and really honing in on family, like you said, the community, really close to KK. She's Chuck Brown's daughter. She's been super supportive of me from day one. Big G, from Backyard, Donnie Simpson, the goat of radio, um, just several people. And I think just like, again, like I can't stress it enough, just being myself and being authentic. And then, really just want to learn, really want to support people. You know what I'm saying? Like, like you, what can I do to support? And people know when it's not genuine, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I've led with that. So even people who have who've not done things that I've asked for, and they come, I think it's so funny when they come back and it's like, well, I still trying to maintain, okay, well, that was a season, let me be nice, but let them know, like, hey, remember, I did ask you for a favor, now you asking me for a favor. And,
Exactly.
and people got to be aware of that. Whenever you just remember, keep your heart and minds open when it comes to doing business with people, because at some point you're going to need that person that you would like kind of shine away from. Like I know a lot when I first started the show, actually I had people in the beginning, who are no longer obviously here. Not saying something happened to them, but they're not in my inner circle anymore. Who said, why would you start your show? Nobody's going to listen to you, right? What do you have to say? And this was before everybody and their mama had a podcast now, right? You got all these different
Yeah,
platforms.
2014, that was like before all of
Right.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody, and it was so difficult for me, Layla, because that's kind of why I had fallen off for like 8 years. Like I just posted something, and Claire Summers responded, because honestly, like I didn't think she remembered, but she remembered me very, like, I remember you, like, what happened? I was like, girl, I'm paying for, because at the time, my goal was to get on the radio, right? At that time, I was doing it for fun, paying for videographers, my time, my gas, and the thing about in person now, that's why I'm glad we have these virtual platforms. I will wait for people, Layla, for like 2 hours with my mom. Like I said, I talked about that story about Mother's Day. I drove to Baltimore to do an interview with a very prominent singer who did a famous tour. Like she's up there. I still got my receipts to say my mom was there, and literally waited for her 2 hours at the hotel. Her manager, we got to the penthouse, and basically ghosted me on Mother's Day. So this game will test you. Like I said, putting out videographer money. The radio, I had gotten a deal through the radio, but it was less than what I was making. So I'm like, oh, this is not making sense. So literally, like I said, spending money. I got a deal. I was at the radio deal, got the radio deal that was less than what I was making. I knew people that were on the radio who told me what they were making, who I'm still cool with today. And I'm like, hold on, that's way less than like I love y'all, but and I'm an introvert, extrovert too.
Same here.
So I like to be outside, but like I told
Yes.
them, a workaholic. Like I rather kind of be like to myself.
Hmm.
But no, really, really God's favor. I hate to get religious or whatever you want to call it. Like he has been on my side. There's no way, Layla, I've been able to have success I've had with these amount of people, with the not knowing them from anybody, and I'm not a celebrity, I'm not an influencer, literally starting from the ground up. And I think that's why people respect it, and just being a person. Like if I see somebody, I connect with them. Um, uh, I didn't post this, but I had literally, what's his name? God, Marvin Sapp. I ran into Marvin Sapp last year, and I have a picture. I never posted it because we're still talking. He's getting engaged right now. Everybody sees that now. He's getting engaged, but he's supposed to be on my show. And we're still working on that. But literally, I have the behind the scenes of that. Like literally, everybody was like, I saw him. I had went to the Good Soil conference for Bishop T.D. Jakes, met him and so many people. Like I met Jay Bolin. So if you haven't been to Good Soil, Layla, you got to go this year. That's how I met Jay Bolin. A lot of these events and
Oh,
conferences,
wow.
people got to start going. It was in Texas last year.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of connects. They
Hmm.
actually interviewed me while I was down there about my company.
Okay.
So I did that, which I showed them behind the scenes. But long story short, I saw Marvin Sapp sitting on matter of fact, I might post it. I was trying to save it for the interview, but I don't know. It depends.
You only live once. Post
But
it.
I know, right? So
You can post a short clip, a teaser, what's to come.
yeah, that's what I'll do. So I literally saw him on the couch. I mean, on the couch, on the bench outside. He had the little. He's actually smaller. I don't know why I thought he was. Some of these people look different when you see him in person. So he was
The
actually like
photography is
smaller.
amazing. Like it'll trick your mind, and then you see people in person, you're like, what? And the camera and all of that, the
Yeah,
tricks they do.
yeah. I saw him. He's such a. I felt like a giant. Like I literally saw him, and it goes back to what we say, being ourselves and being authentic. I saw him, and a lot of times people like this, right? But like
Okay.
literally, people running up like this. I can't tell you how many people I've met, and I've not taken a picture of it because this thing's in the process that I could easily name drop. But like certain rooms, I'm not the first one going like this because I don't want to seem like a fan. Like I'm there for business. I want to get the connection, the relationship. At some point, we'll take a picture, we'll get the selfie. But if I got your email or your camp's email, that's even more golden than having a selfie than trying to post and improve it. But anyways, long story short, I saw him by himself, and my brother who was with me, he started filming because he knew what time it was. So he just, slowly started filming it. Like I wasn't expecting that, but he started filming it, and we took a little, he took a little picture of it. But I say that to say that he was by himself. I literally was like, hey, here we go again, like Dion Cole, like these other people. Hey, I've been trying to get in touch with you for 8 years now. The perfect moment. He was by himself. He was sitting on the
Yep.
bench. He had the little Gucci. Like he was so incognito. And I
Wow.
ain't take no pictures. I wasn't hiding. That's the thing, guys. When you guys see these celebrities, like I've seen, my husband and I, we had a run in with not anything bad, but we ran into DL Hughley. We didn't say, oh, this D, because a lot of times they already dealing with LA and the
They're
chaos and
real
people
people
running up on
too.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just be cool. So we talked, and I'm like, listen, I've been trying to get in your team for the last 8 years, and anyways,
Hmm.
people come and go. So he gave me his PR. And like I said, he literally like, you got it. And he went so far, it was like, okay, spell it out to me. Repeat it back so I know you. So it'd be little stuff like that. People don't understand can go a long way. Like I said, he took his time to make sure I had the right email. He was like, you sure? Say it back. And I said, no, I appreciate it. And I walked off. I didn't ask for no selfie. None of that. I said, like I said, the only proof I got is because my brother was, recording it because he'd be catching on. But you gotta be genuine. Everything ain't for a photo op. Like when you meet certain people, get their contact, get their team's contact, and build and be genuine about it. Find ways that you can provide value. And sometimes it's not always about doing immediate business, right? Maybe it's like, okay, you have a brand, you have a product, you got a service, and be genuine because people can sense that again. I cannot stress that enough. And just, I don't know if you want to call it volunteer, but just, help out, as if you want somebody to help you out, because nobody's going to turn away free helping that I've seen so far. But again, it got to come from a genuine place, and you got to follow up with people. So that's just my one little Marvin Sapp celebrity story of many stories I have that are coming to fruition right now. But you can't take selfies all the time. Be
Mhm.
more, be more. The goal is to get the connection. So any room I'm going into, Layla, from here on out, um, Congressional Black Caucus, uh, what is it called? Kimberly, what's her name? What's that girl name? Kimberly Blackwell. She does accelerate. I can't remember. Let me look it up on Instagram right now. But anyways, Tyler Perry is a close friend of hers, and she's actually I'm a AKA Alpha Kappa
Oh,
Alpha
really? We're going to
Phi
get into
Incorporated.
college next. I was just thinking, like, okay.
So she's a fellow AKA member, but she does a conference every year. And I told her I was gonna come because again, you just start commenting on people and DMing people, and they're like, oh, okay, let's do something. But she actually had Tyler Perry at her event. She knows him very, very well. But that goes back to what I say: building connection, being genuinely interested in people, and just keep at it, and people are going to respond. And then people check out your page to see what you're doing. If you're not on nothing, they're not going to respond. But if you're doing stuff and you're actively, Kimberly Blackwell, oh God, I butchered her name. But she's normally like front row at the Atlantic Hawks game with like Boosie and all of them. Louis Vuitton down. She's like the Louis Vuitton. She's actually on the board. So she's really close to Gwyneth Paltrow, the actual like whole nother level, Forbes, all of the things. He's been on NASDAQ. But anyways, I say all that to say that you got to get connected with people and start going to events. Like I can't stress that enough. Like you can't just stay at home, be on a cell phone and all that. You got to get out the house. So that's a major key too.
That is a great tip. You dropped so many names, so many tips. People need to take notes because this is I could see when you were speaking, like this is your passion. And even though I have other questions that are in line, but I just want to dig
Yeah,
in just a little bit more because
sure.
this is something that lights you up. You could just tell by when you speak about it, even when I met you, I could just feel like, dang, she really, like the elders told you, they're like, little girl, you have something. So we're going to support you. And they
Right.
don't do that for everyone because they
That's
can
it.
kind of see like, maybe not this
And
one
even
right
we
now.
can see now, right? Even you
Yeah,
see
as we
somebody
get
young that's
older,
hungry, and you like, oh yeah, they
yes,
keep
you
on
can
doing that, they're
really
gonna be
see
successful.
it. And it was
Yeah.
authentic, like you said. And the biggest gem I guess I took away from what you just mentioned was the devil is in the details. Pay attention to the little things when you're dealing with things like this. And so to bring it back around, you went to college. Did you go to school for this? I think you said accounting or something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I was like, let me make
I'm a
sure. Did I hear
nerd.
accounting right? Yes, that is business adjacent or related. But so, how did you go from accounting to wanting to be having celebrities, getting to know them, network, and being in their sphere, and you becoming one basically, essentially through working through this? How did you get like? Was that something that was always a passion, or was it something that came after college?
I think my mom talks about it all this time. We from the city, so as DC people, I'm from the city. And everybody is so funny. Like we will always go to Potomac and like upper like Northwest, like 16th Street, all of that stuff. And I told my mom, they would have these gigantic houses, bigger than life. And I was like, I said, Mom, I'm gonna knock on their doors and see what they do for a living, and I'm gonna ask them because I've always like I think a lot of people, by human nature, we're attracted to the finer things in life, right? And then I think the
Right.
question is, what do you do? Hey, how can I how
Exactly.
can I how can I be like you? And I think it just grew from there. Watching MTV Cribs, back in the day.
Mm,
What VH1 used to be the famous lifestyle. Is like all these different
yes.
shows. I'm always like, oh my God, how did they get there? And I think too the spinoff that came from my show, the inspiration was at the time again before everybody started thinking they can have a podcast overnight. Um, I really want to figure out the how. How did you get there? What is the mindset? Like a couple of platforms I listen to, like DOAC, Diary of a CEO,
One
The
of my
Callum Johnson
favorites.
Show,
Yes.
Jay Beeson, Cody Sanchez,
Hmm.
Gary V, one of my favorites.
Oh, yes.
I used to love Grant Cardone, but he kind of switched sides on us. So I
I
don't really
understand. I
I still
understand.
take the business advice, but all these
That's
different
it,
shows.
what I've been having to do. It's good. It's
Yeah,
funny you mentioned that since you work with celebrities, you can see the change and transition as far as like what their content started out with, what initially drew you in. And then as they, I guess, become more authentic, they becoming their
yeah,
authentic selves too. Then you get to
yeah.
see maybe I really wasn't in alignment with them, but not to cut you off. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, no, 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 for sure. But I'm just saying now we have different, I think people are starting to get it. It's not about getting a quick click, like it's actually having these types of conversations that we're having right now and getting people to feel comfortable to tell us those gems or tell us those little tidbits or aha moments or nuggets where people can be like, okay, man, like watching this interview right now for an hour. I got something Layla said that sparked me and inspired. Like I'm gonna walk away from here inspired because I'm like, okay, I need to step my game up, right? We were talking. I have some personal things going on right now, but aside from that, I'm like, okay, wow, like this is the inspiration I need. That I know this is confirmation, that I need to keep going. And because nobody, I appreciate you having me on your show. I forgot to say that initially. I normally I got so caught up in your intro, girl. I was just like, how the we this person she's talking about, right? So,
It
but no,
always happens like that. People like, who, me? Yes, you. I study. I make sure before I bring anyone on, I make sure
yeah,
that this is a business person. They're busy. They have things going on. I'm a respecter of time because I know I put myself in someone else's shoes. If
mhm,
I had to come in and sit and do an interview to talk about my life, I want to be appreciated. I want you to know what I have done because that's
yeah,
important. So I don't have to spend all day talking about it. But if we want to really get into like your history that we're talking about now, we have to kind of get the intro and everything out the way first so we can really dive deep into who you are and what the message is that you're trying to give to the other women who are listening who may need this inspiration because you just never know who you're going to inspire. So that's my tidbit about like how I prep and do everything. And that's why when we first met, I was like, okay, I'm going to ask her, but I'm going to wait a little bit to see like, okay, because I got to do my research and everything. And then I just started finding
yeah.
out
And I
like,
saw you like there's a lot of people that besides that, a lot of people that reach out to me, and you could tell when it's not genuine, when they
yeah,
want something, or they're like, oh, do you know something? You know what I'm saying? Just again, and then I noticed like I said, you kept following, you kept liking, because I see, like I said, those little tidbits, the little things you
yeah, if I
comment.
see it,
I
boom.
see, yeah, when I see people, I'm like, okay, I see you. Hey, hey, I'm like, what you doing? But no, I think too, I also got tired of so many people we know that's from the area,
Yeah.
especially I would say women, but especially our area. I feel like we don't get enough credit. Like so many people, like you said, are from DC, and
Oh
you
my
have no
goodness.
clue. Like Morris Chestnut publicist, I shouldn't be talking. Morris Chestnut publicist is from DC.
Wow.
And
I
I was talking to
mean,
her, I'm like, she like, yeah, I went to Wilson, and I'm like, my mom went to
yeah,
Wilson. Like I'm from here, but where you go? People, we test each other. I'm like, girl, I went to
yeah.
Cardozo. You was uptown.
What high school? That's always the number one question because we get connected by the, oh, I'm a clerk. I went to Cadoza before it was
Yep.
Cadoza today. And because
Yeah,
it was two different generations. But yes,
yeah.
that is
So it's
exactly
just so
the
crazy. It's like,
credit.
I want to bring that here. I don't want people to feel like they gotta move to LA, they gotta move to New York, they gotta move to Atlanta to make stuff pop. Like it's our time. It's our city's time. We got too many talented people. Not to keep name dropping, but me and KK had this conversation several times. I'm like, girl, you talented. Some people talented out here, but we got to start working together. We can't be competing with each other. And we got to start putting on for our city. So when we go to these interviews, when we go to media events, we need to start saying, hey, yes,
I'm
I'm
from
Layla. I'm
DC.
from
Yes.
DC. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to start putting that up a little bit, just
Everywhere
like
I
people in the
go,
South
I
do.
tell everyone I am from DC.
That's it.
DC, yes, Washington, DC, the nation's capital, a tale of two cities. That's how I put it because it's two different sides of the city, if you know what I'm talking about.
For
Most
sure.
people don't know that. They come into our city and think, oh, it's just tourism, it's the capital and everything. And now they seeing it a little bit differently now, but
Hmm.
still, it's just because you get to witness like our mayor on TV talking and everything and just getting to know the people. So I'm a representative of DC. I'm a representative as a black woman anywhere I go. I represent who I am. That's the authenticity in me wherever I go to meet people. And just to bring it back to what you were saying about the credibility or the credit, we don't get the credit as much. That's the part of the reason why I'm starting and opening spaces like this because we don't. And for someone who I noticed that you were like, I've been doing this for a long time. Then when I said 2014, like, what? Okay, you have been out here doing it because a lot of people who graduated with us, unfortunately, they may not have went through the same trajectory as we have. But what touched my heart from the reunion was seeing how many accomplished women were there, or people in general, that came and showed up still years and years later. And they came to tell the children, like, okay, this is what we did. And these are the things you need to probably get out of your mind because it's not going to happen like that. But this is what you need to put in your mind. Like, it's not just a negative, I'm going to give you the real life from both sides so that you can know how to plan. And a lot of kids don't have that. And that's why if you don't know that this person is from DC or where I came from, you won't relate to them. You don't think that you can accomplish what they have accomplished because you don't feel like nobody from here has ever done it because nobody is talking about it. So platforms like you presenting people from DC is amazing. And that's why I think it's so important because your passion and everything that you have, and I really admire that you putting people on, you showing people like this is the way to do it. This is the behind the scenes. So when I see it, I click it. Like anytime you get a little like or click, it's because it came across my page. Anytime I see it, I'm a true supporter. Just ask anybody that knows me, I am a true supporter. And I love seeing people doing positive things and making sure that there's so much negative out here. We need to counter that with what is good as well, because it's not only negative, but if you keep showing the negative over and over and over, it just keep reinforcing it. And so coming from where we came from, the city that we came from, the high school that we went to, we beat a lot of odds. And that's not anything light. Like that's something heavy, like everything that you mentioned that you have done in your life over your lifetime. A lot of people may not have even accomplished half of that. And so that's where like the humbleness comes in where we ask ourselves, like, okay, I'm going back. I'm telling them this because I want them to see the vision. It's not like a brag or anything, but I want them to see, like, yeah, you can do this too. So I ran off a little bit too long, but
It's
I
all
just
good.
wanted to let you know, like, that's where it's coming from. I'm a genuine person. I love this city. I've had my ups and downs with it. Like, man, I need to get away because I went away for school and all of that. But then you come
Right.
back and you appreciate it differently because when you leave
Someplace
something,
like home.
yeah, exactly. And then you start to see all the changes that happen in the city. That is what really touched me and made me get into real estate because I was like, oh, these people don't even know what's happening. They understand what gentrification is because the bill went up and I got to move to Suitland or Maryland. I got to move out of DC, but you don't really understand. So if I understand, I can teach people what is happening. What are your rights as a tenant? What are your rights as a property owner? And all these different things. So whenever I meet people that are on that same frequency, I'm like, yes, I met a good one. So that's why I'm just happy to have you here because you're giving so much information, which leads me to the next question about just you've gone through all these things in your life and ups and downs, and you've already dropped a lot of gems. Did you have any other, or maybe the greatest lessons of all the things you have learned along the way? Like, what would you say will be that greatest lesson?
It's so many things. I know we said we're gonna talk about this, but I got married coming up on my 2 year anniversary. I got married in 24. So I definitely want to shout out to my husband, my amazing husband, the mogul himself, truly inspirational to me. But I would say so many. I could just think of like I would say three top things. And I guess we haven't talked about this. Well, I don't know if it's gonna come up or not, but we were having a conversation recently, and I know for me, anybody that's a high performer, and I feel like we don't talk about this enough, um, it comes with targets on our back because we don't have to do nothing. We stand up for what's right. We have integrity. We have morals. We got values. We gonna see this thing through. If you say no, we gonna say why, and they gonna give you an answer. And you gonna be like, nah, that ain't right. I looked at this. I looked at that. They gonna say no, and then you gonna come back again for the. That's why I said go back to my relentlessness. I,
Yes, you are persistent. If I could put anything on your profile, put that persistent. She's gonna do
you
those follow-ups and touches like, okay,
know,
she didn't reply this time. This is the 15th time, but I will figure out a different way this time. And that's what it takes. Honestly, that's all it takes. That's the difference between you, my godmother used to always tell me that it's not the smartest person to graduate school. It is the person who is most persistent, the person who keeps showing up. And that's what you keep doing. You keep showing up. Eventually, they're like, yeah, of course. Now, I know you done tried so many times, and that's what it takes. People forget that.
Yeah. So my husband, um, my family, my best friends, I would say really people who support me hands down. Like it's very few. Like I've had instances, so many instances where I thought people were my friends, and even I hate to go back in the past, but even guys who I've dated, way before my husband, that were jealous of my success, and that's a real thing we don't talk about. You try to. I went through that stage. I dimmed my light. I'm doing all these things. And like I said initially, I had somebody who was my best friend at the time say, why was somebody? This is what happened. This is when I think Yandy. I had interviewed Yandy from Love and Hip Hop. Um, like I said, this was 10 years ago. Very supportive. She did my drop and called me her ace boom coon. All this stuff. This stuff is on record. So when my former best friend at the time saw the video, the first thing they did was like being all weird again. Oh, I'm with Kat Harvey. I was like, hold on. You were the one that said why would anybody watch my show? Now because I'm with Yandy, I'm with now Candace Grace. She was going by Miss Diddy, but the whole puffy thing. So she changed it, she rebranded her names with her. Some other people who I've met, and now we doing this. So I think it's important that we recognize when people are, I unfortunately want to say, jealous of you. Be really mindful of that. Don't sweep it underneath the rug. The little jabs, that people would make, and calling events or things that you're doing as little, or people be playing. Like seriously, take heed to that because it's real. It's real, and I know for a long time I swept it like the rug. I said it didn't matter, but then it started to show up in other areas. But shifting back to my amazing husband, I would say it's never been a point of time. And I think it's so important as women. It's hard to find a man that's gonna let you shine. Even if you outshine them or they outshine you, like he lets me shine to the nth degree. Anything, any help I need. A lot of people don't know. I know he's probably gonna hate me for this, but he's done a lot of my media and branding stuff. He's creating a company right now, but he's done all my media and branding from my logo to my events, like down to the details. So he's like a coach to me, right? I'll have an idea and he kind of refines it and say, oh no, you need to do it this way and do that. So I think it's important that you have somebody who you're with that's if they're not your equal, they're better than you. In my opinion, my husband's better than me. He's probably gonna be like, oh, why did you say that? But I gotta give my hats off to him. Again, just been in the trenches. He's seen me gone. Like I said, literally from interviewing. I'm not sure if you guys remember Tony Reds. So he was
Yes.
actually my first. Tony Reds was my
Oh,
first interview.
really?
Yes.
Wow. And he's from the city too, right?
Yes, yes. So rest in peace to him. So when I found out he passed away, it really touched my heart because if you guys know, like Tony Reds will put down the newest artist. He didn't know you from a can of paint. He will listen to your music if it's decent now, and if you're hungry, he will put you on WPZC 95.5. So I remember I did my first interview with him. He didn't know me from a can of paint. I still got the text message to this day. We were at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Bowie. It's gone now. That's like how long it was ago. And we were in 30 something degree weather outside for an interview for 10 minutes. He didn't huff and puff. Some people they ready to go. He just took his time. Like I'm cool with you guys. We got behind the scenes, but like he was the first person that gave me my opportunity. I guess is my first celebrity, and I was so happy. And I hold on to that. So people, I say that to say, no matter how far you go up, always remember people. You were there at one point, just like he probably saw it in me, like, oh man, she hungry. This is her first like interview. She getting started. She got the videographer there. We outside. You can see the cold coming out our mouth. And I'm just hyped. I'm like, yeah, we here with Tony Reds.
Right.
And it just really made my day. And it did something to me. And I think it goes back to learn or return. We have
Mm,
to do that for the next generation, man. Don't get so high
yes.
up that you can't take time out. Because time is the one thing we never get back to say, let me inspire somebody with some words. Let me hop on this interview. Let me hop on this call. Let me support their event, like you said. Whatever it is, because it come back full circle. Because at the end of the day, you're going to need a community to support any type of business, let alone any projects that you have. You're going to need a community behind you. Otherwise, you're not going to make no money. and that's just what it is. So like I said, that's the first gem. The second gem I would say is hmm, I would say playing chess, not checkers. What does that mean? That means keeping your emotions out of it. I think that's one of my strengths. My mom says it. So, sometimes you're a little too strict, but I have to be to protect myself. And it goes back to what we said about trust and about having our business in line. Because you never know. Layla, I've been nice. Like I genuinely like to lead people. I like to be nice to people, but I've been burned like a lot of people. And at this point in my life, alignment and all the things. Um, I have to protect myself, and it's important that especially in business, you got to have your receipts, you got to have your LLC in order, you got to do your trademarks, you got to have your attorneys for different type of things. Like I have an attorney for real estate, I got an attorney for my media stuff. I got like having these. It's important, and I definitely don't want to overjump that. So even if you and a friend, you guys decide to have an event or you partner up with somebody, put it on a piece of paper. Otherwise, it didn't happen. And then two, have those emails trail because people can do a nice deal with somebody and they be like, oh no, it didn't happen. Oh no, yes it did. I got this whole email, even if there was no money
Exactly.
exchange.
Receipts.
Yeah, this is what you agreed upon. This is what I
Mhm.
did, and go from there. But it's so important, and I've learned to take my emotions out of it, a lot of it. When someone does something I don't like, I've gotten blessed behind that. I try not to pay people back. I let God and karma do that. And they've done it way more than I'd ever could have done it 10 times over. So I would say don't try to get people back. Everybody has their turn. And if it's not them, it's somebody that's close to them. I've seen. So and I say the third thing, what's the third thing? Take time out. I'm a workaholic, like I said, 6 laptops.
Yeah,
I
six
got
laptops.
TVs.
That's you got a whole IT help desk department.
6 laptops. I'm a workaholic. I'm always working. But literally taking time out. Again, it goes back to spending time with your family, with your loved ones, your friends. I know as we get older, you don't realize how fast a year or 2 years go by. You're like, wow. Next thing you know, it was 10 years. You're like, oh no, like even my girlfriends now, they thought something was major with me because normally, we see each other, for a special life event because I haven't seen them in a while after my wedding. And so, they thought it was some other news. I'm like, hey guys, let's get up. They're like, oh my God, are you pregnant? I'm like, no, I'm not pregnant. I just want to grab something to eat. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
we can be with each other, but like really spend time with your friends, man. I think that's another thing I'm really intentional in line on. I
Mm,
got to start having dates with my friends, date
yeah.
nights, whatever you want to call it. Like, cause I feel like my work I'm so consumed by my work that you don't, like I said, you don't realize how fast a year goes by. You're like, damn, I didn't see my girlfriend in almost a whole year, especially if they got a family and all these other things. I think that's important too. So really cherish and hold on to your friends that's there for you no matter what, and treat them. Hey, take them out to lunch sometimes. Take them out to dinner. If you see a cute bag or a shirt that reminds you of them, go ahead and pay for it. You won't get it back anyway. But I'm learning how to do that piece more. And even my friends, they're like, oh my God, you don't have to give me that. I said, no, I wanted to give it to you because I wanted to. So I think those are the important, just one of the many important things that I've learned that's really near and dear to me.
So you hear that? Greatest
Oh,
lessons. Find you a great partner, whether that's for her, it's her husband who has been supportive, giving, and really in alignment. And make sure you don't have those haters talking about this is your, oh, I like your little event. That word, when you said it, we can identify 100% because that is an indicator to me like, okay, this person isn't necessarily, because sometimes people have a hard time identifying. When I was younger, I did have a hard time like, oh, I thought they were my friend, and then I get disappointed. But if I really paid attention and I really just looked and saw instead of just being like giving them my heart, I could have seen a long time ago that this person was not my friend. For someone to tell you, like, why would you start that? That's their limitation. That's what they think you are. That's what they think your level is. So that tells you y'all time is ended. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to go your separate ways because you can no longer grow together. And so lessons like that it's unfortunately comes the hard way sometimes, but the beautiful thing is you were able to find a wonderful, equally yoked partner that is able to help you sustain your dreams and continue to the next level. For some people, it may not be a marriage partner, it may be your best friend or something like that, whoever, your business partner, that you two have those contracts that you mentioned next to the next lesson, chestnut checkers, making sure that you're strategic about everything that you do, especially if you're a business person. You have to have things in writing because you never know when you're going to be called to court or it's going to be a disagreement, misunderstanding. If you have everything clearly written out and laid out perfectly where it's clear for somebody to understand, you can solve that without even going to court sometimes. It's the times where even if you do have all of that information that you do have to go to court and a person just wants to take it to the next level, that's what requires the real strength in you. Like, I know I'm right, but now I have to go and defend myself, my company, my brand, so that any defamation suit, any trademark, whatever it is, I got to stand up and do this part of me as well. Like, you had to kind of balance like working in your business and working on your business. And working on your business can be like a stressful thing because it can pull from your creativity. But when you're in it, you're like, okay, I love doing these interviews, but what goes on behind the scenes is what just can pull and pull and pull from your energy. So that's the list that got to get chopped down so that you can have more time having fun, doing a thing you love. And I know we got to do the things that are important to us to take care of the business, but the things that we love is what continues to motivate us. And speaking of love, that was your last gem, the friends and the support from other women and making sure, or other people, making sure that you show, just like from the very beginning where you were mentioning the mentors that we have, Dr. O'Leary, Shirley McCall, all of these people, like, I always remember them every time that I write something because I'm a writer, because that's where my foundation came from. Those were the people that told me, you got something, you can write. You're really good at this. I was in a regular class and my Dr. O'Leary was like, you need to be in AP English. You don't need to be in here. So that's how I got into that path. And oh, you need to do this for college and all of these suggestions from people. So why not be there now that the tables have turned and, pay it forward and give back? So those are some gems and lessons. I hope people are writing these down because people can relate to it. Sometimes you don't know it. That's, I think, the first one really is the greatest thing that people sometimes you'll search your whole life for and you never find is a partner that is aligned with you. And like you mentioned, the people in the past, and now I think you got your reps in. So you were able to like, okay, I got this now. I know this is the right way. This is the right person. And I think that's always like that's God sent. I don't know any other way to put it. That's the best way that I can put it. And so all these things have happened in your life. You've done amazing things and you still have more to go. But what would you say so far is the thing you're most proud of in your journey?
Um, I was having this discussion even with myself, with my husband, with the ones closest to me. Because I know for a while, like everybody's like, "Oh man, I need 1 million followers, right? Or I need to be this big thing, like this Oprah, or whatever it is." I think now at a point I'm comfortable. My result. I stop using goal. I try to say my result. Because I feel like when you say goals, it get pushed on the side, you change it, but result is like, oh no, I'm gonna like you said, I'm gonna get this thing done. Um, I would love my result right now is to build towards 1,000 supporters, or maybe it's 500, but to me, my result is 1,000 supporters, 1,000 people who support me no matter what. And I'm good. If it's more than that, cool. But I think for me, like 1,000, like solid. I think I got 1,000, but I mean, let me change it up. 1,000, I don't know. Like people who don't know me from a can of
So
paint.
to add to it, so the thing you're proud of is what you
Right,
have so
right, right, right,
far,
right.
but
Yeah,
to
yeah,
add on,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. A
Because we
thousand
definitely love the
supporters.
people that support us from the churches all the way where we are. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect word. A thousand people who I don't know from a can of paint
Mm,
worldwide who
okay.
love and support the vision and what I'm doing. I think that will make me feel like I checked off all of the boxes. I don't need a
Uh,
million.
yeah.
And even now in business, you don't need a million. I mean, you see people right now who got a million followers, who can't even sell one product, can't sell out a show. They can't even get 50 people to show up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, why do you have, you know, so it's always quality versus quantity now. So that's I'm really honing in on building my foundation, building my company brick by brick. Um, and I'm very excited about that. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And what was the other thing you were saying too? Besides that?
Just basically like what's the thing you're most proudest about throughout your journey? And I know the support that you have gotten is the number one thing, but if you
Yeah,
wanted to add anything else to that.
I think realizing I have to go back to finding my tribe. Man, I don't take that for granted. We can see a lot of people, out here killing themselves. People get set up every single day. People who have the money and people all around them because of what they can do for them. I'm just truly grateful. I got so many people who, at a drop of the dime, Layla, if I call them right now, whether they're here, whether if they're in Germany, Dubai, London, I mean, and these are facts. Wherever I go, I can call somebody right now, they're gonna show up. And they don't have to be so-called family, but they're family to me. But they're in my corner. I think that's one thing I don't take for granted. And I think the thing also is finding my passion. People go, finding my passion and pursuing. I guess what they say, pursuit of happiness. I'm in that. I'm
In
in
the
that zone. I'm in
pursuit,
like, yeah, I'm in the pursuit, and I think that's where I want to stay. I think once you start pursuing, once it's not fun no more, just like NBA players and everybody say, once it's not fun no more, it's like, well, why am I playing? Why am I in this thing
no
anyway?
motivation left. Yeah,
Yeah, so I
I
think the pursuit
understand.
of going after these bigger celebrities, bigger deals, these bigger
Hmm.
partnerships, sponsorships I'm working on right now, that's what keeps me happy, right? And being unafraid, because this is a scary thing, right? These people don't know me from a can of paint. Um, I'm literally about to do a deal with a large corporation who don't look like me. And they just huge supporters. I'm counting them as one of my 1,000.
Yeah, because they could make up like within that
Yeah,
company.
well, two actually two of them, right? But
Yeah, the
really
quality, like you said, the
the
quality.
quality
That's
and
it.
being
Stop chasing the
having the
likes.
nerve,
Yeah.
yeah, having the nerve to say, I have something to offer, and this is how we can help each other. And leading with that, it goes back to being authentic. Like go, I have a nerve to say this young little black girl from DC who still gets carded that
Hey.
hey, but when I talk, it's a whole different vibe, right? People see me in
Hmm.
person, but to say,
Yeah.
hey, I got something to offer, and I'm leading as myself, and I'm not allowing the fact that I'm a woman, the fact that I'm black, the fact that I'm a black woman, or I'm from DC. I'm not, or the fact that I'm young, because a lot of times I'm younger than a lot of people who are in the rooms with me. I'm not led because I forgot to mention that when I was in my 20s, I felt like a lot of things I didn't accomplish or were obstacles to me because I let my age be a reasoning or an excuse, right? They're not gonna do the deal with me because I'm young. Um, like Marseille Martin, the youngest producer ever. I mean, she was like what, 18, 16, whatever she is,
Yes, I
and
was
doing these
surprised to find
multi-million
that
dollar
out.
deals. Like how far I would have been had I not used that as an excuse as to like, man, they're not gonna do a deal with me. Like, you're only 20 years old, yeah, you drive a BMW, yeah, this person over here driving a Rolls Royce. Like, what can just seriously, I'm in these rooms and I'm literally like, what can I possibly give to them? What can I possibly offer them? Not knowing, like you said, the value, the intangible. Okay, but I can support them in this way. It goes back to that. But I would say, had I known that, not let my age be an excuse for anybody youngest out there. Again, be your authentic self. Be a student of the game. Watch lovely channels like Layla, lovely inspiration, of course. Be an active listener. I gotta give props to you. Your active listening is like super on point. I'm taking mental notes as we're talking. I'm like, man, I gotta do a better job than that because I guess too, because I want to let people talk and get it out. I gotta work on improving my conversation flow. Like, you remind me of a flow of also Oprah mixed up with Angie Martinez. Angie
Those are my
Martinez.
two favorite. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I keep
see?
posting Angie lately because
Oh, yeah, that's what it reminded
she's
me of.
been doing it for years. And that's what I love. And that's the same quality I notice in you. You've been doing this for years. So starting out, like before even people thought this before was cool or a trend or a thing to jump on, when you were just like getting pushback left and right, like people couldn't even imagine. Now it's like, oh yeah, I can get a TikTok, I can get this. It's more accessible to people. But before, when you had to go out and buy the equipment, go to people's houses or Starbucks or sit out somewhere and wait and do all the legwork that people don't. People now, you just cut on the camera and you there wherever. I'm talking to you, you talking to me from a different place in the world. Like this is completely different. That's why I really have respect for people who have the grit and put in the work like you have from years and years and years ago. Not just, oh, I started in 20 something. No, I started back in the day. So now I'm here and you could just see, I could hear from the your life story just in general because I told you I work with women to help them make their memoirs. And that's going to bring me to another question because I'm just pulling all these things out and I'm just like listening to your story and seeing so many patterns. And I think the pattern and connection that I made, I love Oprah and Angie Martinez. I always loved them. I never ever thought I would be doing anything like this, but I just love talking to people in general. And I sit and listen. I've always was the quiet girl who people just talk to me and tell me everything. And I'm just like, that's where it started. If you wondering like,
Wow.
where you get that
Okay.
from? Because I just listen. I'm like, really? Oh, and then I just take it in and like, okay, so that's how they did this and this. So that's what's
Mhm.
happening in my mind as I'm listening. I'm just like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it just came natural after that. I guess I got trained in school to where we are now, but it's just making the connections in your life and seeing like, okay, you had that passion for being with like putting knocking on people's door on 16th Street, which was a street I always wanted a house on. Ever since I was a kid, I said I want to have a house one day on that street, and because that's where all the rich people lived in the city, and it was just like immaculate. I thought it was like untouchable until I got into real estate, and then that closed the gap in my mind, just like you said from the car that you were in to the roles where somebody else is in, it closed the gap like, oh, if I really work hard, I could really figure out a way to get something like this or similar. It may not be right now, but in the future, this is how they did it. So I just sit and I soak up. I'm like a sponge. I like to listen to elders. I like to listen to people. That's just my thing. I love it. So old people love me because I sit and listen to them and everything. So just making that connection of your life and how you love celebrities. What I wanted to ask is what, when you work with celebrities or you work with companies, I'll stick with celebrities specifically because that's a different thing. A lot of people tend to idolize celebrities. And I noticed that you don't idolize celebrities. You have a different form of looking at it. It feels like you are humanizing the celebrity so that people can relate to that person. And I think that's because I listen to your interviews and I think that's just like what you try to do to help people see, like, yeah, you can make your dreams come true because that's the goal of your show. So you show them like, yeah, me and such is, chopping it up, Kiki and whatever. This is us. It's down to earth. It's really you. And I think that's like the star quality that I'm noticing here, that you really have a good thing. Cause some people, they'll do an interview and be like, okay, I'm talking to this person here. And they'll be very, very, very like, okay, let me
Right.
be on my P's and Q's. They might stutter and all that, but you're so authentic in yourself. You've done it. You put in your reps. Your reputation is all you have, like you said. When you meet these people, that's why you're getting these opportunities. That's what I'm noticing because you just bring your authentic self, you following up, being persistent. And not only that, you making sure that people can relate to these people and not like separate them in a sense like, okay, they're from the city and they did this and they made so many great accomplishments. They made great music, outfits, whatever it is, hairstyles, whatever it may be that makes that person that star quality that they have, you just kind of bring it out to the world. So was that your intention when you first started out, or is it something that you just kind of learned about yourself as you went on?
I think it's that, but then also, to be honest with you, Layla, I got tired of seeing trash reality TV by the boatload. And instead of me saying, all right, we don't need no more Kim Kardashian, we don't need no more Love and Hip Hop, all the things that spin off from there. Like we need, platforms like this to really pour back into people. I mean, that stuff is cool, entertaining. Like, don't get me wrong, it's entertaining, but we don't realize how many people are hurt. I mean, even during COVID, how many suicides, how many people are married that's faking on the gram that they got money. As we saw, a lot of people still got repossessed. A lot of celebrities who thought they living out high, living beyond their means. You know, marriages, people breaking up because they can't, sneak out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, seriously, people
Everything is
not
locked
living their
down.
true,
Life is
authentic self.
completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a difference, and I think too. I forgot to mention this. I think too how I knew this was for me. People have said several times. I can name plenty. I hate to name drop, but this is what I got to do. Um, Even recently, I had reposted the interview I did with multi award winning Grammy award winning Stellar award winning Tina Campbell of Mary Mary. She commented on my video. I interviewed her 8 years ago. My mom was actually there on the set, and in Georgetown. We did it at the. I think were we at the Four Seasons? I think we did. She's saying at the Four. She was in it 4 seasons. And whatever. But anyway, she's super warm, and she literally commented my video like literally a couple days ago. That not just 8, 10 years ago, and she said, "I remember this," and I screenshot. She did it on Instagram,
Wow.
and mind you, I've talked to her almost 8 years, and that's why I said, I always people may forget your name, but they never forget how you made them
How you
feel.
made them feel. That's right.
Tokyo Styles from well, he's not from here.
Hmm.
I'm really close to him and his manager. We're like family essentially. Always super supportive. I had no idea and I had him on my show. His name is Chris Aaron. Shout out to him. He amazing management company. Um, he said, you did Tokyo Styles first interview before
What?
Kardashians. Yeah, I did Tokyo
Oh
Styles.
my
I'm gonna post it.
goodness.
I'm gonna post it. Yeah. So
This
we
is what
like
I'm talking about.
had
The
no
OG.
idea. The hair doc, he's doing something to say. I did his interview out of his apartment in Maryland. Ran into him at the MGM. Ran into him at the MGM. I had went to go see the Ozzy Brothers with my mom and had some things to do. And I got to him, and he have seen each other a while. And I said, and he commented on my video too. He reposted it. He was like, "Oh my god," because first, we look different. I grew up a little bit, and so he looked at me like he knew me, and I was like, "You remember me?" He was like, "You a little familiar." I was like, "Yeah, I came to your apartment. I named where it was at. I gave." And he looked at me. He was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, give me
Because
a
you
hug."
still have the same face. I will say
Yeah,
that. That's what most people, even when we went to the reunion, that was like, Kat look young. She's still the same. Like,
that's what everybody's saying. I'm,
that's why you
my
still
little
get
tomboy
carded.
self. I'm running up on people like, hold on, like Jay Bowl. That's on Tyson's too. I'm like, hold on, I wasn't dressed, but as soon as he saw my face, and he was like,
It's your
oh my
face.
God, Kat,
Yeah.
come here.
Mhm.
But no, I say all to say, like, so many people, like I said, Claire Summers, Fashion Bomb Daily CEO, everybody knows her, one of the biggest fashion bloggers out right now, and she was at the Met Gala. So I did her event in Georgetown 10 years ago, and she reposted my video. I haven't talked to her in 10 years. And I think to say, I said, man, it goes back to why I told my story. Back then it was so hard. Nobody was doing, I actually had a plug to Michael B. Jordan before he got big. And the only reason why
What?
I shouldn't be saying this. The only reason why I couldn't interview him because I think he was in New York, if I can remember correctly, and I was working or doing something, and I couldn't find a damn. I think I had just either my videographer at the time had just moved to Atlanta, and I couldn't find nobody. And that's another thing. You pay for videographers, they may come late, they may move. Some of them not good. Like versus the internet, you ain't all I gotta do is click on the link join. You ain't got these are the behind the scenes people don't understand, or they late, or they want make more money. Just these different instances. But anyways, long story short, a lot of celebrities weren't doing Google Zooms and interviews because like just like Netflix and these different TV shows, they thought, okay, if I'm not on the movie screen, it's not important. But the game has changed. Now they're like, okay, now everybody want to do Google interviews, but for me back then when I was doing it, that's what took me so long. And that's I think too that's why I ran out of steam because I'm paying for videographers. I'm going to Baltimore and I'm going to New York. I'm going to other places. I'm putting my money and my time and out. and I'm not getting anything in return. You know what I'm saying? Right, after a certain point in time, it will burn anybody. And honestly, that's what happened. I got burnt out. If I would have kept going, I'm sure I would have been a lot further, but it was so many, like I said, paying for stuff. I have a life to live. I'm doing different things that, and people, like I said, people were not open to doing virtual interviews. It's hard unless you live in LA or New York and you can go there quickly because that's what I ran into. Okay, yeah, we can set you up, Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, we can set you up with this person, that person, but you got to be in New York in 3 hours, or you got to be in LA in two
Yeah.
hours.
You have to
I'm like, LA
fly
is a four
and
hour flight. I can't be
yeah.
there. You know what I'm saying? I kept having that, and I think too mentally it wore me out because I'm like, I can't be in two places at the same time, and then they're not open to virtual interviews. Because I was doing through Google Meets. That's right. I was doing my interviews through Google Meets, and they're like, I love you, Kat, but he's not going to do that on Google Meet. You got to be here, and it got to be in 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours? The damn flight is 4 hours. What are we talking about? So long story short, like I said, Claire Summers, like I said, she responded. She was like, "Oh my God, I remember you." And I'm like, "You remember me?" But I've gotten like I said, so many of those stories where people literally, like I said, I haven't interviewed them in a decade, haven't talked to them. Just life be life, and it's nothing. But literally, people say, "I remember this," and that's how I know this is what I'm supposed to do for all
Wow.
walks of life. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, have you written your memoir or any book yet?
I
Hmm.
haven't. I haven't.
Because
I
you have
think.
done a lot, and just to talk about just in the field of media,
Yeah.
and people talk about that whole experience. There's so many women who are media moguls, and they talk about the experience as interns coming up and all these different things, and just listening to what you've spoken about today, just hearing, okay, this is where Kat started, and this is where Kat is. These are the struggles, the trenches that she was in. And now the game has completely changed where everything is online. And now I love the fact that you are pivoting to AI, whereas a lot of people are still averse to it. They're like, I don't know, I gotta wait a little bit and see. But now you're like, you're making that switch. And it sounds like you were already thinking about digital before because you were asking people, let's do an online interview instead. That makes it easier. But they didn't see the value. So you were ahead of your time in that sense. They didn't see the value at that time. But when the pandemic hit, everything changed for everybody, and now they see the value. It's a lot easier to connect with people, and so I guess it made it a little bit easier for your business, if I'm not mistaken, with doing that
It was
side.
a gift and a curse, though. I think too. Even
Yeah,
now, it's
it
still a
could
gift and a
be.
curse because that's why I'm running up on people right still.
You have
Because
to.
everybody's like,
You
I want to
still
have you
have
on
to
my
put in the
show.
work.
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to have you on my show, and it goes back to if you don't have that connection,
No.
of course somebody's going to do an interview, and this is another thing I found out. Nobody's on TV on these shows for free; they're getting paid.
No.
People are getting 20,
Exactly.
30, $50,000 per interview.
Right.
Like we're gonna be real. Like that's something I would want to aspire to, and at some point I'll get
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship at that level. But where I'm at, it goes back to not
Yeah.
looking down on somebody. Everybody got to come up and go through the ranks. But
Yeah.
um, people got to be realistic. Like I'm competing against people who are paying platforms who are paying 20, 40, $50,000 for each interview,
Right.
and people are literally. Right now, thank goodness, people are giving their time to me
Yeah.
thus far. I
Because
have
of the
not
relationships you
I have
established.
not paid anybody for any interviews you guys seen. I've not paid anybody.
You established a
Um,
relationship, and look at how many
Not
celebrities
saying it
you've
won't change in the
interviewed.
future, right? For
Of
certain people.
course, I understand,
But
but
I don't, at this point now I know like, okay, competition and being realistic. Okay, now I know this is how I have to pivot. Because like I said, initially my goal was to become on the radio and then it
hmm
came and it wasn't the money. Now it's like, okay, now I know that the game has changed and people on, Club Shay Shay, you got Joe and Jada, you got EYL, you got all these different platforms, Breakfast Club, they're paying people or, they got enough, platform where people are going. I'm up against these platforms. It's not just people in my area or local bloggers. I'm competing with these top people, the top heads. So now that I know, okay, I need to treat my business and treat everything as such. This is why I'm huge now on my live, doing more live events. And like I said, going more live, creating immersive experience. I'm really honing in on that because and it goes back to the 1,000 supporters. That's why I said I don't need a million people. I just need 1,000 people who rock with me, and it's game over.
exactly the
And that's where I'm at
quality.
with that. I feel like that's more attainable versus, I need to get 50,000 followers. I need to get
Yeah.
100,000 followers. I feel like 1,000, you can make ton of money if that's what
Mm-hmm.
people doing, which I mean we are in business, but I think the impact, if you just focus on, like you said, one relation, like I did, one relation, being my authentic self, one relation at a time, one story at a time,
Yes.
these one-on-ones, these behind the scenes, and people see you hungry, they see you genuine.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get to these different levels and next doors. It's not by doing this and
Mm,
doing a quick click. Like I'm more concerned about what happens when we turn this camera off and someone
exactly.
shows you a picture of me, or if I posted, like we said, I posted a fucking interview for like 10
Mm-hmm.
years ago. Is Tina Campbell to come out her way? Even Elise Neal, like we like
Yeah.
this. She we supposed to do something live too. They're coming up, they're coming back on my page saying I remember this. That means a lot because they don't have to say anything.
Absolutely. It
And
does.
that should be the goal, to build connections and relationships with people, because that's what counts, and that's what's going to get you in the door and stay in the door.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. It's just it really is. It shows that like what the energy and the effort that you put in has paid out and it continues to pay out. And it's so like touching to hear like you did my first show, right? I remember you. All of those little things is just like, yes. I guess they're
And had no
inside silent
idea.
wins. Yeah. Because that's why I asked about the memoir because it's just like, yeah, those are points where people are like, okay, oh my goodness, I did
I
this.
had
I
to,
remember this
maybe
point.
my 40th, maybe I'll be 36 in May, but I'm thinking maybe my 40th. I've actually I've teetered with it. I'm very I don't like my personal business, and I hate to tell
Yeah.
another story, but I'm gonna tell it too. So,
No,
boy,
this is your story.
I thought we were gonna be here forever, but
This is your story.
it was so funny because Melissa Renee, who is Floyd Mayweather, we know who he is. If you don't, I don't know what part of Earth you guys are on. But Floyd Mayweather is one of his first children's mother. I did an interview with her 10 plus years ago, and she was staying at oh God, by 8th Street. I can't think of the daggone hotel the celebrity staying at. Anyways, on not 8th Street. I'm sorry, I said 8th Street, 7th Street. On 7th Street, one of the top hotels. And we did it because they had a fountain at the very base. We did it at the bottom, and my mom was there as well because my mom helped me film because my videographer was nowhere to be found, disappeared that day, and she said to me, she said, "Kat, I'll talk whatever you want to talk about, but please don't ask me about my child's father, which is Floyd Mayweather." And I gave her my word. I said I'm not gonna ask, and I think too. While we're talking, I think what irked me too, and this happened to me, and that's why I say, when people want to talk about their personal life, they'll talk about it or they'll say, "Hey," but I'm really big on that. And I think too that's why people respect me so much. But I'm getting back to her. She said, I really don't want to talk about that. So I said, "Okay, we'll talk about it." So she kind of like touched on it without touching on it on the interview a little bit. And I interviewed her twice. I interviewed her the first time, it was horrible. Again, that's why I learned about, oh man, I need an actual handheld mic, Sennheiser handheld mic, instead of, the normal boom mic. You learn by because you can hear the water. It's so good. I think I got like 20,000 views anyways, but a long time ago. But anyways, you heard the water, so you can barely hear her, and her voice is very soft. So, anyways, the interview turned out crappy. So I'm like, oh man, can we do it again? She was like, oh, I'm out of town. So fast forward, I interviewed her like 6, 7 years later. And while we were there, because she did it at her home, and she had her home in Vegas, and 2 times. And she said, I still remember you. She's like, I remember you saying, me telling you, because what happened was, like a lot of these companies, like, I don't know if you saw that recent interview with Matthew Knowles, the
Yes,
journalist.
absolutely. That is a
He was
whole,
dead wrong. And you could just see the setup. Like, and people are veteran. People can sniff out people that are in
yes,
for a viral click and a headline
exactly.
like it's no other. So I said, why would he do that? And this guy, and Matthew Knowles is on my list to interview. I will interview him, but I wouldn't even. I'm serious. That's why I only touch that stuff. Like I literally hone in just the business with him because I think he's an incredible businessman. I mean, that's what Beyonce,
Yeah,
what she
Destiny's Child to Beyonce. Yeah.
should have stayed on there. I mean, he's the goat at this. But going back to Melissa Ray, anyway, she asked me that. She said that I guess she didn't name the radio station, but a radio station she did the same thing. She said, guys, I'm gonna get on this radio station. I'm not gonna say who it is, and we're gonna talk about the interview be about my clothes and different. But please don't ask me about Floyd Mayweather. 5 minutes into the interview, Floyd Mayweather, how you? she said nicely, calmly, "Oh yeah, this interview's over with." And so from that, her sharing it with it and me not asking her and me doing it the second time with her, she was like, I never forget that day, how you really, because it's hard. So many people, so many vultures out here, and
Absolutely, for
it's like somebody
content.
rolling up to your house and say, oh, hey, Layla, yeah, they don't even, yeah, tell me about your boyfriend. You'd be like, I don't
All
even
in
know
the
you.
business, everything like I could just
What?
imagine. That's why I asked that question about like you humanizing celebrities. That's all a part
Yeah,
of that.
it
You making
is.
sure that people don't cross their boundaries. They're telling the story that
Yeah,
they want to tell, not what you want to tell, what's hot, what's out there. Because
yeah,
people need to get to know them. And that's exactly what you did. That's why I, said I can see it. I really see
yeah,
that passion and that care that you have with celebrities. It's not just a viral moment having your phone out. Oh, let's take a selfie. They get that all the time. Like, what is going to make you stand out? What's going to make you last? And that's what made you last with that woman because she remembered both times she respected my boundaries and she made sure, even though you had the malfunction, whatever it was, it didn't matter to her because you respected her in that way to tell her story. And just like, I guess, taking it back to the beginning, like what your goal is, you're really doing that with the celebrities. You are telling their stories and you're putting it out there in a way that other people aren't because people just looking for viral moments, viral clicks, numbers, views. It's a business thing for them, even though it is a business for you, but it's
yeah.
more than that. And I think that's what makes it last. So kudos to you. My hats is
The
off
one of my
because
many stories. Like I'm like, oh, I'm talking too much, right? But no, I think it's important, like you said, the behind the scenes, and going
yes.
to the memoir, which you talked about. I want it to be intentional. I really don't want to write a life story because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say I'm like Prince, but like I know I'm not gonna be dropping like my things I'm going to the grave with. You never gonna know about that
Oh
story. So
no, you don't have to. I mean,
no tell
memoir.
all books,
Yeah.
no personal. Like I will
No.
keep it at a business level, maybe some personal stuff, but I think
Yeah. I mean, it's
if I
different
do
types of
something,
books. So
yeah, no,
you
but
have different
that's the
options.
direction.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a biography type. It would
Mm-mm.
have to be more like business, a little bit personal. I'm
Right.
sure that's the route that I probably would go in, and I think that would be good for like my 40th.
That's
Um,
good. Well, I'm
yeah.
always pushing people and encouraging them to write, put their story in
Sure.
stone, like because when you're gone, that's your legacy.
That's
That's what's
it.
going to help people because that's the work you do while you're alive anyway. You're helping the youth, other people, not just the youth. I see you all. Kat is everywhere at everybody's establishment. She going like she got pictures, videos.
I'm gonna drop another gem for you. It doesn't matter. Like even with Jay Bolin, right? I saw him at Tyson's too. So, sorry, there's a difference.
Yes, there
Just
is.
so we're clear.
It's a
Um,
long walk or drive.
but no, I wasn't dressed. I ain't had no makeup on. I had like my normal, like how you make little runs, like, and I know so many, especially women, like if we don't have our, like, I mean, some women said they don't talk to nobody, if they don't have their stuff all the way together. I'm like, look, if it's $1 million deal, if I see Oprah in the mall and I'm looking raggedy, what I say out my mouth is going to overturn that because it's what's in you, not what's on you. And in that
Exactly.
moment when I saw J Bone, even I'm like, man, I'm about to go to a fashion stylist. He's styling TD Sarita J. I mean, I'm Sarita J. TD Jake's daughter. What's her name? Oh God, what's her name? I should know it. I can't think of her name right now. But TD Jake's daughter. He styles her like everybody talks about her clothes all the time, so he styles her up and down.
Sarah.
Huh?
Sarah Jakes.
Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah. That's his daughter.
Sarah Jakes.
Or
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cora. The other one is Cora. I just
Right, right. Good. Sarah Jakes. Right, right. So
yeah.
he styles her. Everybody talk about clothes. He styles her. Like he does so many things. And I could have been in that moment like, oh man, he on my show. I don't have the best of the best clothes right now. Let me not say hi. Like I think too, when you see opportunity, my opportunities never came when I was ready. All of them.
That right there is an entire gem.
Never.
It never really comes when you're ready. It comes when you have things piled up, like I got to do this, this, and this, or I'm not dressed right. It's all about your mouthpiece. Like what's going to come out your mouth is what's going to sell. Because when I got older, when I was younger, I had a different mindset. I used to think, oh, everything is about designer labels and all this stuff because that's what I was taught. But then when you get to meet really wealthy people, they're not that flashy. they look like bums, half of them sometimes when they're
Right,
outside. Like, you're like, oh
right.
my goodness, my perspective started to change because they're not putting on. It's tiring. It's exhausting to do that 24/7. Yes, you dress up for events and stuff like that, but living in real life, they're humans. They're real people. They're just like everybody else, but they may have a little bit more money or fame, but it still doesn't change. Like they trying to relax or chill. So when you come up to them with already like, okay, I got a game plan, I got what I want to tell them about, and you already know what you want to do, they're really looking at this. They're
They're
not
not used to
looking
it.
at
That's a major key. They're not used to it. They're used to people taking pictures or not having a
right.
stuff in order. So when you come different, and that's why I've had certain people, give me their numbers and give me their team numbers I have in my phone. Like, there's a reason for that because everybody else want to take pictures, or they saying, or they getting right to it. Oh man, instead of how can I help, it's okay. You can do this for me. I need you to do this, or can you? Here's my T-shirt, or here's this. Instead of saying, okay, so how can I help? This is what I have to offer. Leading with that first, it's just so important.
That is absolutely because everything in life. There is no free lunch. That's one thing I learned. If something say free, it is not free. You giving something in exchange for it. So
Yep.
whatever you're doing, reciprocation is the name of the game. Like relationship building is the name of the game. And those are things that you do really well. And you have built those relationships to the point where one person, you may look at one person like we were talking about the 1,000. One person could be an entire network in the community that you need to set your entire platform off. And you're looking at, oh, I need millions. You need quality. That one person know probably this person and they know this person and this person. One introduction to the right person could propel everything in your life and you just don't know. And that's why when you were talking about people so superficial when they come with like, oh, let's collab, let's do this, let's do that. They're not really genuine because they don't see like what is the benefit that's going to come from this, not just from you. What is that other person going to receive from them doing what you want them to do? Because that's just how common sense works. At least I would think so. But you
Right.
just never know. Everybody wasn't raised that way. But
Sure.
in general, that's the way reciprocation in business works. And that's something you do really well. You relationship build and you've really gotten great at it. So I could see that business book coming out, giving your gems and
Yeah.
everything, telling everyone like this is how you do this in this media game or whatever it is that could be even real estate. Because you have the clothing line, all of these things. So all of it. And I guess if my final question could be one it's more of an inspirational one because you know my channel, A Lovely Inspiration. So if you had to give any final words of inspiration for any woman that's listening, what would you share with them?
Hmm. Um, your biggest opportunity comes when you're going through something. I had to go back, but I lost my uncle. And I literally, my uncle passed in August of 2025. I had already, like I said, I went to TD Jake's event. I was pumped up. This was like, what, June, July. Met some incredible people, like I said, Marvin Sapp and all these different people who I, have connections with. Um, and my uncle passed. I had this great idea. I said, okay, I'm gonna do a live event, my first one. Everybody's been asking me for it. I had all the things planned out, and boom, my uncle passed in August. And I was this close, like so many times I said, and I've been putting off. And I said, oh God, wow, like I'm right there. I had the sponsorships and I literally contemplated on cancel it. I mean, literally for a long time, I said, no, it's not what you want me doing. It was so difficult. I mean, even me just being there, because it was matter of fact the day after Veterans Day, which is unusual. And people showed up. I had like a lot of people, over 200 people on the wait list. I only could hold 60 people. I had 250 people on the wait list. Hence, that's why all the sponsorship and stuff coming. And I saw this as my sign. But literally, I was in the storm. I didn't feel like it. Showing the behind the scenes. I'm literally going to walkthroughs. I'm on deal with sponsorships. I'm pulling up at people's restaurants, businesses, and at the same time, I'm handling estate matters. I'm crying. I'm grieving. I'm dealing with court stuff, I'm dealing with attorney stuff, and having to put a smile on my face while still being, in my entrepreneur business. It's not easy. And I think too, I go back to, and I told Dion Cole this off to the side. He did his Netflix special, and what made me keep that date for my grand opening was that Dion Cole said that for his Netflix special, his mom had just died, and he was saying that he already set in his mind, okay, as long as they don't pick a date that's the date of my mom's death anniversary, I'm going to do it. And his Netflix special happened to be on the date of his anniversary of his mom's death. And I mean, that's huge. And he was like, I mean, I can't imagine what that feels like. And I hopefully, I know everybody got to go at one point, but prayerfully, my mom's still here, thank goodness. But I can just, but I literally went through that my own situation with uncle. Like I had a great opportunity, everything was lined up, then boom, he died. And grief is grief, And for me to, in that moment, and even moment, still slowly but surely grab myself together. Things gonna happen. My first event, things weren't perfect, but you'll never know. To say, you know what, I'm gonna push through this, and it's gonna come. The devil is real. He definitely showed up several times, but literally for that one, like I said, everything was perfect, and then boom, my uncle passed away, and I'm like, man, like I don't want to do nothing. I just want to. I still haven't had time. I'm running hard. It'll be coming up on a year that he's been passed away. Unfortunately, it was unexpected, but I still have to get up and keep grinding. I think that's the piece people don't talk about. Life is going to life, and you have to still get up. You still got to perform. You still got to do these emails. You still got to do these interviews. You still got to, even though they're great, but I still have to put on sometimes this mask that people don't talk about enough because life is going to hit you, and you're still expected to show up. So if I can tell anybody, your biggest opportunity may come when you're going through your grief moment. Have a moment, cry, get it out, but please don't let it pass yourself by. Unfortunately, I hate to sound tough or mean or rude, but that person lived their life. And that's what Dion Cole said. His mom would have wanted him to take that opportunity. And a lot of opportunities is once in a lifetime. And two, I've never shared this story. I was going to wait for it, but I guess I can because I wanted to go viral. I actually, when I was 16 years old, like a lot of young girls, we saw the America's Next Top Model documentary.
Oh yes, that's a whole different. Oh my goodness, because
I
that was.
won't go too deep.
Oh,
But I lived like a lot of women. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be America. I said, I'm gonna be America's Next Top Model. My mom took me to New York. I remember us going, and they, I'm not overweight, but I'm at a decent size. And even they were telling me, okay, you need to lose some more weight. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm a size 6. What you, what are you talking about? Like, but no, I actually ran. I ran into, we were eating at Maggiano's. If you ever been to Atlanta, I think it's still near oh God, is it Phillips Square? I forgot the big time mall in Atlanta.
Lenox
Anyways,
Mall.
Lenox Mall. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
Lenox Mall. There's a Maggiano's that's right in front of it or around it. I can't remember because we went there anyways. Anyways, we coming out Maggiano's, and I'm squinting my eyes. I'm like, I know that's not who I see it is. It's Queen Latifah.
What?
This is right before she did movies and the cover girl, right before the cover girl stuff coming out. And this is when Ed Hardy was popping. I had my Ed Hardy
Oh
hat on. I
yes,
remember
I
like it was
remember
yesterday.
Ed Hardy and the velour suits and Juicy Couture and all of that and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had my little $100. Look, I had the 100, I think it was like 125, because everybody had the basic little 40, 45. I said, nah, I'm gonna wait till this up when Up Against the Wall was in PG Mall. That's where I got it from. I knew I was
Oh
fly.
my goodness. Yes, that's
So
a
I see her,
classic.
yeah. So I see her walking, and my mom was with me, and she had the Ed Hardy green cameo. I can say like it was yesterday, green cameo, uh, like a messenger bag. So she had the Ed Hardy bag, and I had the hat. So she kind of made my hat, and I was dressed, and I had braids in my hair, and I swear to goodness, she took 30 seconds. My mom was right there to write because I asked her for an autograph, and she had her I guess her girlfriend with her, and she took 30 seconds to sign it because she could tell I had something to say. At the time, I wanted to tell her, and I was so scared. I've been trying this modeling thing. It's not working. Is there anybody that could put me in the right direction? And that day haunted me. It still haunts me today. I think that's why I go so hard. And that's why I tell people, your biggest opportunities. And, I was scared. That's what happened. I was scared. I'm like, man, this Queen Latifah in front of me. and you've been struggling, you're trying to become a model, you've been trying to get put on the map. And next thing I know, she had an NBA All-Star game, front row center. She's done these movies with I forgot the white guy name, but done all these movies. That's when she did the thing with that was after she did the thing with Common, the movie with Common. Start seeing her
Yeah, the
everywhere. And I'm like,
basketball.
I was just in front of this lady. Like, what the hell? And I froze up like a statue. And from
Mm.
that point, and a lot of times, like I say, you think, oh yeah, I'm gonna meet them again. I haven't seen her in what? This was 16. I'll be 36, 20 years. 20 years ago, my life would have changed. I'm telling you, I would have never went to Norfolk State. I would have been talking to you right now, probably. My
Wow.
life, my life would have been upside down. I don't know if it's good or bad, but definitely
Mm.
my life would have changed. If I would have said one word, like I said, she took 30 seconds to give me my autograph. And my mom said the same thing. Like she was waiting, like she knew I wanted to say something, and I was just so scared. And because when I told her my name, she said, "What's your name?" I said, "My name is Catherine." She paused. She said, "That was my grandmother's name."
Oh,
So you see what I'm saying? Just that's how connection. Where I said I'm gonna start telling stories so
yes.
we can viral, we can connect again. But that haunted me, and it showed me that you gotta speak up, even when you're scared. When
Mm-hmm.
life is not fair, things grieving. That's why I go back to the opportunity
Right.
thing. When you get these opportunities, you gotta put the mask on. You gotta go for it. You gotta do it scared. You gotta do it afraid. Like I said, if I would have said something to Queen Latifah, I guarantee you, I probably would be married to my husband today. I probably have been like,
Different life.
with some low life, right? Some low life NBA
Mm.
star that's whatever, and probably I don't know on my third marriage, I don't know, but everything was supposed to happen. But I mean, if I could turn the clock back, I probably would have said something. But I say that to say again, you gotta take advantage of opportunity and time because a lot of times you don't get second chances. And that was just a story that, like I said, I met Queen Latifah, my life, Layla. I swear to you and my mom, she came in here, but she would tell you, and after that, she drove off in a white Rolls Royce. I'm like, that was. I mean, I knew
Wow.
it was her, but when I saw her drove off in a white Rolls Royce,
It
it
was
was white
confirmed.
Rolls Royce. It was two. It was two. It was a two seater. That's how I know. It's like a Phantom Ghost. It was two seater. I remember like it was just. And I love cars, but she drove off, and that day haunted me. And like I said, I started seeing her NBA All Star Weekend. The movie with Comic came out. You see her on all the CoverGirl
Wow.
stuff, and I'm like, I was just with this lady 30 seconds. No bodyguards, by herself, real down to earth. She about as tall as me, real down to earth, beautiful, beautiful soul, and I didn't say nothing.
Mm.
So that's how you got this beast today. I will
Well,
meet Queen Latifah again. I'm
you
adding
never
her back to
know.
this. I'm gonna make the connection. Like I said, I know she's on social media trying to make those connections. It's one of many, but that Queen
Yeah.
Latifah is probably the first time I've ever spoke about this publicly like that.
Mm.
That was one of those things where I tell people, man, like when you see opportunity, you gotta take advantage because it can literally change your life. And I'm sure, again, if I would have said one word, if I would just say I need help or three words, she would have helped me.
Wow.
She would have helped me. And it's just I know they said regrets, but that's one thing I'm like, man, I don't want to say regret, but I'm highly disappointed in myself that day.
And
I
you
could
just
kick
took a lesson
myself.
from it. You were like, okay, next time it's game time. Carpe diem, seize the day. Anytime, that's the lesson. That's the takeaway. And I think you probably needed that so that I don't know who the next celebrity was, but I'm sure you definitely learned
I
from
ain't
that
do that again.
experience.
Right.
It was no freezing up. It was like, okay, we in the zone
Yeah.
right now. Let's get to business. And
Yeah, I ran down. Hate to name drop some more, but more Chesley. He had an event, and I ran him down. My
mm,
mom recorded it. Not ran him. We had a conversation. I'm like, I've been trying to get you on my show, but hey, no, but this is real, right? Just being who I am. He's literally, and I probably posted too. He's literally like showing me like that's my and I gave names. I pulled up on him. I gave him names. Like, look, this person, not answering. He literally showed me to his manager and was like, look, talk to this person, and that's how I know, his publicist from DC. He can get you in touch with her, and y'all can make it work. And I got her number and stuff now, but like, it's nothing but God. And like I said, that definitely that one fumble. I definitely have that one big fumble. It led me to a beast that I am, and I'm sure we'll connect again. But that's the story. I said I'm gonna start telling more so that I can connect with her and I can show her this interview and say, hey, I was on a lovely inspiration. It started here. I put it out in the
Right.
universe, and we're gonna come full circle with this, and we're gonna connect in
Exactly.
person. So no, I'm very excited. I think it's important. Like I said, I've gotten too more comfortable with sharing my L's. And to me,
Yes.
that was a major L. Like I'm like, oh my God. And that's why you're looking at me like Queen Latifah. I'm like, yeah, but people don't understand. Like when you're in front of people, like people do all this talking.
Yeah.
Oh man, you should have said this. I'm telling you, like when you meet people, like
Hmm.
I froze up like a statue. Like I was in
Yes.
star shock, or I don't know what you call it, but like I
Yeah.
couldn't
You
say
just
nothing.
froze. Hmm.
I froze, and I've never done that, and that was the last time on Earth. Kat
But
Harvey
that's
froze.
what the lesson was. That sometimes you needed that kick from the universe to be like, okay, I know
Yeah,
this is your dream, but
yeah,
this is we really gonna see what you made of. So this is how. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier about how you're not intimidated or uncomfortable anymore around celebrities. And now I know the origin story. I love hearing the origin stories. That's where it came
got the
from.
exclusive
Queen
girlfriend. Come on,
Latifah,
Miss Mom.
yes.
Look, you got the exclusive. Yep, yep.
From Queen Latifah, seeing her and just being like, cause the thing, my real name is Khadijah, and I always used to get
Oh
people
yeah,
like Queen
living
Latifah from Living Single, but that's how everyone remembered my name because that's the only person they could really reference outside of like religion or something. But that was it, Queen Latifah. So I could just imagine me seeing Queen Latifah back then and just yeah, because I did look up to her. I still love her. I
Oh yeah,
love the work that she does. I just love watching the progression that she has made as an individual, like in her career and living her life privately and keeping that love life privately from the like protecting herself. I love
yeah,
that she did that. And now that we're in a different society and a different day and time, she's able to come out, but not even just the relationships, but just how of a businesswoman. I always admire how a person pivots. She went from rap to the next thing that she's doing, like the movies and all these other things, and it just did not stop, and it still hasn't stopped till this day. Like
yeah.
you talking about the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, the 2010 plus to where we are today. That is a lifetime of work, putting in that work. So I would probably freeze up too back then because it was just like Queen Latifah, but that's
Hey,
what you needed and you
yep,
got it. So thank you
yes,
for giving me that exclusive. Thank you for
yes,
sharing those words with women. Whoever's listening now, you can see like Kat is a real person. Like I was talking about, she does this for youth as well. She tells the youth, this is what happened. This is my L. I wish I would have met or said something to Queen Latifah. Like that's just a part of her journey. And if you're watching this and you're thinking like, man, I don't know if I could do this. If you want to interview celebrities, Kat has been doing it for years, and this is her journey and her process. So if you made a mistake, your sound wasn't on, like, even with my interview, sometimes I have to be like, is my sound on? And then when I'm in editing, I'm like, oh my God, my sound is just like so low and I'm in there forever. But that's what it takes. I don't have a sound engineer and all this other stuff. I just press play and make sure these headphones work or my mic right here or something like I just do what I have to do. So that is what you have done. And I think that your life is an inspiration for other women, men, whoever's coming up, maybe whoever's, it's not always about the younger people being watching you and being inspired. It can be about older people too, like the celebrities that send you messages like, man, I saw something in you. I remember because you never know what state of mind they are in too when you're giving them that interview. You don't know what they were thinking. They could have been like insecure about something. You just made them feel comfortable, whatever it was. So, all the things that you have gone through, thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for dropping your gems. This is going to be an amazing interview. I can't wait till it comes out.
I can't wait. We're
Kat
gonna
is
have to
giving
cover this thing up like a
exclusives.
million times. I know
Yes.
I am. We're cover this thing up a million times. I already got my mind and using AI and trying to
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm gonna get Queen Latifah back, and then I can
Yes.
circle back to this interview, get
Hey,
the book plug, like, hey,
Queen Latifah was
say
the
the last bit of
catalyst.
fuel in me. Look, what has been buried deep in the withers of my soul are fumbling the
Yes.
Latifah bag.
Okay. You
So
found
yeah,
that today. That was a
yes,
story that needed to be told. It came out from the American Next Top Model and all the way to where you are today, doing what you're doing, and the event that you had recently, and just that's life. I think that's the biggest thing. I saw a quote the other day that said, and it resonated with me so deeply. It goes in line with what you were saying about life is always going to be problems. Just have fun or live your life while you're solving those problems. You can still, always, there is nobody on earth that I think has no problems. But you need to continue living life within, in the midst, while you're solving those problems. You may not solve it today, you may not solve it tomorrow, but still live your life. Because I think a lot of people put their life on hold and they might stop everything. I hear so many stories like this, Kat, that you just told about the biggest opportunity that you have. That's when the thing that rocks your world the most. People, parents died before, right before they have to get on stage, and they told them, and it's just like, I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger said that about winning Mr. Olympia, something like that. And he had to go out there and still show up. So many other celebrities as well. Someone's mom passed, and it was just like, it's just exactly what you said, what Dion Cole said. I know that my mom would still want me to come out here and show up today. So going back to those people in the very beginning that you talked about in your foundation, whenever life gets rocky and rough, that's what you draw from that well to keep you going and keep you motivated, from your uncle's passing to all the things that you're recently dealing with as an entrepreneur. It is not easy, but thankfully you do have a support system around you that is really like your ace, that is really supporting you and helping you and making this dream go even further. So thank you so much, Kat. This conversation has been like energizing, electrifying, all the things. And I love chopping it up with DC natives, like people who come from where I come from, because we have a different understanding about like what we went through to get here. It is not easy by no means. We fought through so many different negative stereotypes about who we are and what we should be as little black girls, and the modeling thing you were talking about, just all of that. And when I see us thriving, I just absolutely love it. That's why I reached out and I was like, Kat, I gotta get you on, because I know that you've put in the work and you are a representative of our hometown, and you will go on and do greater things as well. So thank you so much for showing up today, giving your wisdom, telling your story. And before we wrap up, please let us know. This is the time to do the plugs. Do you have a website, service, a program? Tell us about, you were telling me about the wine. It was an event you had. I don't know. It's at some location you have that you recently opened or something like that. Tell us about all the things, how we can get in contact with you if people are interested in possibly partnering with you, sponsorship, whatever it is. This is the time to put it out into the universe. You never know what could come from this.
That's it. So yeah, you can follow us at successnotheless.co, Facebook Success Nonetheless. I stopped TikTok because they watching us. So I didn't click that. I didn't click that button, so I'm not posting like on TikTok anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Kat Harvey as well. That's another gym. I had to get more. That's where the gyms lie too. We need to start spending more time on LinkedIn. You want to get these corporate. I'm focusing on that more alignment in 2026 for sure. So hitting up LinkedIn hard, heavy. Successnotheless.co is where you guys can find and connect with me. As far as events coming up, um, they're going to be posted, like I said, on the website, on social media. Like I said, I'm in the works right now, um, trying to get some things lined up, but I'm super, super excited to be to release some things, I guess.
We already know what's coming down the pipeline.
It always seems impossible until it's done. That's what I
Yeah.
have in my office. I'm literally like looking at it. Um, it always seems impossible, and it goes back to Dr. Lurie's quote, a man's reach
Hmm.
should exceed his grasp. Like I'm really honing in on that. Like there's nothing at this point, Layla, that I can't do, because what's the worst thing I can do is not try, but at
Yes.
least I did it, versus everybody else talking about it. Like now, I'm sure there's people right now that say, "Oh man, I want to have a show like A Lovely Inspiration," but they never get started,
Yeah.
right? Or somebody comes to them and say, like I had a situation. You have a friend, you got a boyfriend, girlfriend, say, "Oh, you can't do that," and they stop in your shoes. And I want to take my hats off to you also for being a light and being a bright spot, another tremendous bright spot where people can come, they can get inspired because, like you said, people drinking, people killing themselves, people smoking, people that may be pretty or guys who may look good. Have a lot of them have low self-esteem. We've seen that with Miss Universe. Jumped off the, God rest her soul,
Yeah.
a huge building. I mean, who
Yes.
does? You on top of the world.
Hmm.
So
Never
many
know what
amazing
people are
people.
struggling with.
That's it. That's it. So we need more platforms like this. And I take my hats off to you. So definitely keep pushing. Doesn't matter how long it takes. And I'm in the same room. Like I said, 1,000 supporters, game over. And that's just where I'm at.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So you heard it first from Kat, and everything that she has, all the links that she's given today will be in the description box below in this video. So you can go out and subscribe to her YouTube channel, Success Nothing Less. Check out all her websites, her links, and the events that's coming up as well. So stay connected with Kat's work. And to my lovely community, if this conversation has touched your heart, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss these powerful conversations. I also invite you to join the lovely community, which is a free sanctuary space where women of color gather for sisterhood, support, and inspiring conversations. The link will also be in the description box. So please do drop a comment below. What was your biggest takeaway from Kat Harvey's life? Make sure you hit that like button and share this with a sister, brother, because this applies not just women, men as well, who may need to hear this today. This is the story of a woman from my hometown, which I'm so proud of. I love people who come from my city and do things big. And so thank you so much for being here. And until next time, know that you are and will always be a lovely inspiration. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you.